Amateurs compared the shape of the photographed object to known designs of NASA's thermal blankets and found no match. The black night, they argued, had symmetry. It wasn't folding or flapping. It appeared solid, as though constructed. Some researchers even measured the shadows across its surface and estimated it to be 15 meters long, far too large for a loose insulation sheet. Others pointed to the object's orientation. Blankets usually drift away quickly and begin to decay in orbit within days. Yet tracking data suggested this object remained visible for weeks, then disappeared, not by falling, but by vanishing. The missing debris. By the time NASA's catalog of space debris was updated, the object was gone. No record remained. No re-entry event was logged. It was as if it had simply decided to leave. For believers, this was confirmation. Whatever the Black Knight was, it wasn't debris, it was intelligent. One theory claimed it had reactivated after being disturbed by human activity near the ISS. Another proposed that it only became visible during specific solar conditions, cloaking itself the rest of the time. In online communities, the legend transformed again, from ancient satellite to self-aware observer. During the early 2000s, astronomers and independent researchers began monitoring low Earth polar orbits, the same trajectory long associated with the Black Knight. They noticed occasional radar returns that appeared and vanished within minutes. No satellite, no debris, no known object corresponded to those coordinates. At the same time, certain amateur radio operators reported odd repeating signals, faint, rhythmic bursts at unusual frequencies. Some matched the same periodic pattern Tesla had once described over a century earlier. Others seemed to modulate, as if carrying encoded data. Attempts to decode these transmissions produced strange results: strings of numbers, geometric coordinates, even partial star maps. One famous interpretation, though disputed, suggested a map of the Epsilon Buddhist system again, the same origin claimed decades earlier. Coincidence? Or continuity? A story repeating itself through technology's evolution? In 2010, footage surfaced on YouTube that reignited the myth yet again. A group of amateur astronomers from Scotland claimed to have captured a triangular, black object moving slowly across the polar sky. They compared it against orbital data, satellite catalogs, and found no match. The video showed something strange. The object moved smoothly, gliding from horizon to horizon in silence. Its speed was consistent with a high-orbit satellite, yet its shape, almost manta ray-like, defied explanation. When experts analyzed the clip, some dismissed it as a misidentified satellite flare, perhaps from an iridium satellite reflecting sunlight. But others noted that the object absorbed light rather than reflecting it. It didn't sparkle, it swallowed brightness. The Black Knight had evolved again, from myth to moving footage. One of the most chilling claims came from an anonymous whistleblower, supposedly a technician working with NASA's image processing division. He claimed that, during several ISS live feeds, a black, angular shape occasionally appeared in the corner of the frame, before the feed abruptly cut to technical difficulties. While NASA often interrupts live broadcasts for genuine reasons, believers began to track a pattern. Whenever a dark, unidentified shape appeared near the station, the stream went black within seconds. This occurred several times between 2014 and 2017. Coincidence? Or censorship? NASA, of course, denied any manipulation. But screenshots from these streams began circulating, blurry, distorted, yet undeniably intriguing. The object appeared massive, silent, and always watching. Astrophysicists and engineers eventually entered the debate, attempting to reclaim the story from conspiracy. They explained that space debris is far more complex than people realize. Thousands of fragments drift unpredictably, tumbling in sunlight, creating optical illusions. One piece of metallic foil can appear as large as a spacecraft when backlit by the sun. They also pointed out that human perception tends to find order in chaos. We are wired to recognize patterns, faces, and symmetry even where none exist. The Black Knight, they argued, was a masterpiece of pareidolia, the mind's habit of turning shadows into meaning. But even as science spoke, mystery persisted. Because not everything fit. Why did radar sometimes pick up unregistered objects? Why did signals appear at frequencies no satellites used? And why, after decades, did the same shape, the same orbit, and the same eerie presence keep returning, like an echo through time? Today, every known satellite is tracked by the United States Space Surveillance Network, SSN. Over 20,000 objects are cataloged, each one carefully logged with its orbit and owner. And yet, reports of unidentified objects persist, objects that appear briefly, follow an arc over the poles, and then vanish. Some scientists attribute this to sensor ghosting, radar anomalies caused by reflections from charged particles, or auroral activity. Others admit quietly that they simply don't know. When these mysterious tracks are examined, they often align with the same path first described in 1954, the supposed orbit of the Black Knight. It's as if the phantom satellite still circles, just beyond confirmation, always slipping through the cracks of our detection. By the 2020s, the Black Knight had transcended science. It had become a cultural icon. Thousands of videos, articles, and documentaries tried to explain it. Some called it alien technology, others an ancient probe, perhaps even the remains of a forgotten human civilization predating history itself. In 2021, a group of European astronomers proposed a radical theory. What if the Black Knight isn't solid at all, but a plasma-based object, an electromagnetic anomaly caught in Earth's magnetic field for centuries? Like a ghost made of particles, it would appear only when charged conditions align, explaining why it appears and vanishes. Science fiction? Perhaps, but strangely plausible. Every time NASA releases new orbital data or images, a small group of researchers comb through it, pixel by pixel, searching for signs of the Black Watcher. Sometimes they find something, a flicker, a shadow, an anomaly. Other times, nothing at all. The legend endures because of that silence. Because somewhere deep inside, humanity wonders whether we are truly alone in the skies, or if an ancient sentinel still circles above, watching, waiting, recording. Imagine the Black Knight, gliding in its eternal orbit, cold and patient. Its surface pitted with the dust of centuries, its sensors quietly alive. It watches cities flicker into being and fade again. It has seen our wars, our transmissions, our hopes, our fears, and still it remains silent. Perhaps it waits for a signal we have not yet learned to send. Perhaps it is programmed to awaken only when we are ready. Or perhaps it simply observes, a silent historian of a world that never knew it was being chronicled. Opening ambience, a low cosmic hum, wind sweeping across desert ruins. The camera glides from the pyramids to orbit, where the dark outline of the satellite drifts silently above the blue curve of Earth. By now, the Black Knight had crossed the threshold from observation to obsession. Scientists called it debris. Skeptics called it fantasy. But believers called it something far greater, evidence. Evidence that humanity's skies have never been empty. Evidence that someone placed a sentinel above our world long before we learned to look up. As data, photographs, and testimonies accumulated, three dominant theories began to form, each more extraordinary than the last. The most popular explanation among ufologists is simple, chilling, and strangely elegant. The Black Knight is an extraterrestrial probe. Just as we send robotic scouts like Voyager and Pioneer into interstellar space, another civilization might have sent its own emissary to us. A cosmic ambassador, orbiting silently, observing, waiting. Proponents of this theory point back to Nikola Tesla's 1899 signals and the long-delayed echoes of the 1920s as attempts at communication. They argue that the satellite transmits on frequencies deliberately chosen to be detectable but difficult for us to decode, like a teacher dropping clues before the student is ready to learn. The physicist Duncan Lunnan, in the 1970s, famously re-examined those early LDE patterns and claimed to find an encoded star map pointing to Epsilon Boötis. He speculated that the probe might have been placed here 13,000 years ago, its orbit precisely chosen to remain stable for millennia. If true, the Black Knight would predate all recorded history, older than the pyramids, older even than agriculture. It would be, quite literally, the oldest active satellite in existence. Others turn their gaze not to the stars, but backward into the forgotten corridors of time. What if the Black Knight isn't alien at all? What if it's ours, but from a chapter of humanity erased by catastrophe? There are ancient legends of vanished empires, Atlantis, Lemuria, Hyperborea, civilizations said to have reached unimaginable technological heights before being swallowed by cataclysm. If such a society truly existed, it might have mastered spaceflight long before our recorded dawn. When the oceans rose or the skies burned, perhaps one relic remained, a sentinel placed in orbit to remember them. Archaeologists scoff, but the coincidences are haunting. Ancient texts from Sumeria and India speak of chariots of fire that flew among the heavens. Egyptian hieroglyphs show discs above the pharaoh's head. Could these be memories, mythic echoes, of machines like the Black Knight? And if so, what story would it tell of the world before ours? A more speculative, but increasingly popular, theory blends science with the supernatural. It proposes that the Black Knight is monitoring life itself, that its purpose is genetic observation. Every few thousand years, it may transmit data to its creators, cataloging the evolution of species on Earth. Perhaps it occasionally intervenes, subtly guiding development, ensuring survival when extinction threatens. To believers in this idea, humanity's rapid cognitive leap, from primitive tool use to civilization in a blink of geologic time, wasn't random chance, but a programmed update. The Black Knight, they suggest, is not just a satellite. It is a cosmic librarian, archiving the story of life on Earth. If one follows this thread far enough, strange alignments begin to appear. Mathematicians studying the object's alleged orbit have noted its inclination corresponds roughly with ancient geodesic lines, imaginary paths connecting sacred sites across the planet. From the Great Pyramid to Machu Picchu, from Easter Island to Stonehenge, these sites lie along a near-perfect arc that mirrors the orbit once attributed to the Black Knight. Coincidence? Or was the knowledge of its path encoded into architecture itself, a celestial breadcrumb trail left by those who knew it watched from above? One fringe researcher even proposed that the Great Pyramid's angle of 51 degrees matches the satellite's supposed inclination, as if Earth's first monument to the stars were calibrated to honor its silent guardian. Across cultures, ancient myths tell of beings who descended from the sky to teach humanity, the Anunnaki, the Sky People, the Shining Ones. They arrived from above, imparted wisdom, and vanished. Perhaps the Black Knight is their remnant, a monument of surveillance left in orbit to ensure their experiment continued. In Norse mythology, a dark night guards the heavens from demons beyond the stars. In Maya lore, a stone bird circles the earth, watching the ages pass. In India, the god Vishnu sleeps on the cosmic ocean while an eye observes the world. Different names, same idea, a watcher in the sky. Maybe myth is not invention, but memory. Throughout the 2010s, several independent laboratories attempted to replicate Tesla's early radio experiments using modern receivers. They focused on frequencies between 8 and 12 kilohertz, the same range where long-delayed echoes are most commonly reported. On certain nights, they detected bursts of data, sequences that did not correspond to known satellites or cosmic background noise. When converted into visual form, some of these bursts formed geometric lattices, interlocking triangles and hexagons, like mathematical fingerprints. One scientist described the data as too structured to be random, yet too alien to be human. Another suggested it could be an example of machine language, a self-correcting code designed to survive across time. If these signals are real, then the Black Knight may still be communicating, not with us, but with something else, somewhere far beyond. Another branch of the theory claims the Black Knight could be part of a planetary communication grid, a relay node of an ancient galactic network once spanning dozens of worlds. Its orbit is not random. It's a stable Lagrange path, a mathematical sweet spot where gravity balances perfectly. In that position, it could transmit or receive with minimal energy, a technology both efficient and elegant. If civilizations evolve beyond war and greed, perhaps their legacy is not conquest but observation. Perhaps they plant seeds of awareness across the cosmos, mechanical monks orbiting newborn worlds, recording every heartbeat of their evolution. We are only now advanced enough to notice one of them. A more philosophical branch of thinkers offers a modern twist. If the universe itself is a simulation, then the Black Knight may be a system monitor, a visible glitch or tool used by the architects of our reality. Every time humanity approaches a new level of technological or spiritual understanding, the Black Knight appears, reminding us of our boundaries. It is the program watching the players, ensuring balance. To those who hold this view, the Black Knight is not alien nor ancient, but metacosmic, a part of the operating system of existence itself. Several archaeological anomalies seem to echo the myth. In Bolivia's Tiwanaku ruins, carvings depict an object shaped like the 1998 STS-88 photo, black, angular, asymmetrical. In Egypt, a tablet known as the Shabaka stone speaks of a stone that floats in the sky, recording all things. In China's Book of Mountains and Seas, an entry describes a dark vessel that passes over the pole once each day. These could all be coincidences, or fragments of a story stretching back thousands of years. If the Black Knight truly predates us, then every civilization that gazed at the stars may have known its presence and left a record of awe and fear. Yet despite every photograph, every radar ping, every whispered myth, one truth remains unshaken. The Black Knight has never spoken. It has never responded, never revealed purpose. Its greatest weapon is silence. Perhaps that is why it endures, because silence invites imagination, and imagination is the most powerful force in the human soul. It mirrors us, our longing to be watched, our fear of being forgotten. When we stare at that dark fragment above our world, we are really looking into ourselves, into the part of us that still wonders if the universe notices we exist. Even the most skeptical experts concede one point. A small fraction of orbital phenomena remain unclassified. Space is vast, complex, and unpredictable. But among those anomalies, a few consistently return to the same orbital pattern: polar, low Earth, ancient. They appear every few years, never at the same time, always fleeting. It's as if something knows how to stay just beyond confirmation, seen enough to be myth, hidden enough to be denied. Maybe that is the Black Knight's intention, to exist in the gap between belief and proof. Ultimately, whether the Black Knight is alien technology, lost history, or illusion, it represents something far greater: our hunger to understand. The more we reach outward, the more we realize how little we know. The legend reminds us that science and myth are not enemies. They are partners dancing around the same fire. Science asks how. Myth asks why. And the Black Knight sits quietly between them, smiling in the dark. Opening scene: Earth at night, glittering cities beneath clouds. The camera drifts higher, the lights fade, and above the curve of the planet, a dark silhouette glides, silent, ancient, eternal. For more than a century, the Black Knight satellite has haunted the edge of human imagination. It began with faint radio signals, grew through Cold War paranoia, and bloomed into a global myth in the digital age. Through it all, one question has never been answered, and perhaps never can be. Is it real? That question, simple yet infinite, has become a mirror for our civilization. Every generation remakes the legend in its own image. To some, it is proof of alien intelligence. To others, it is a tale about the human need to believe. But beneath both lies the same heartbeat, a yearning for connection, for purpose in the vast silence of space. Scientists continue to analyze, measure, and explain, yet the mystery refuses to die. Perhaps that is because the Black Knight exists not just in orbit, but in the mind. It embodies the point where data ends and wonder begins. Psychologists call it apophenia, the tendency to find meaning in randomness. Philosophers call it the mythic impulse, our desire to turn the unknown into story. And maybe, just maybe, myths like the Black Knight are how the universe teaches us humility. For when we look up and see something we cannot explain, we remember that despite all our satellites, telescopes, and machines, we are still children beneath an infinite sky. In the 21st century, the Black Knight found new life, not in laboratories, but on screens. YouTube channels, podcasts, and online archives dissect every pixel of NASA's photos, chasing shadows in the void. Amateur astronomers share coordinates, frame-by-frame analyses, and theories that blend science and spirituality. For some, it's an obsession. For others, a calling. There are entire online communities devoted to watching the heavens for that single flash, that silent glint of something impossible moving against the stars. Each time someone claims to capture it, the world leans forward, heart pounding, daring to hope. And each time, the official response is the same: space debris. Nothing more. But deep down, humanity's collective imagination refuses to accept that answer. Because nothing more has never satisfied the human heart. The Black Night has also drifted into art, literature, and film, a muse for creators seeking to express the unknowable. Poets describe it as the lonely eye of God. Musicians compose symphonies of metallic echoes and ghostly radio tones inspired by Tesla's signals. Filmmakers paint it as an omen, a harbinger, or a guardian. Its shape, dark, angular, and majestic, has become a symbol of cosmic mystery. It is the archetype of the unknown watcher, a being that sees us but never speaks. It carries the same fascination as monoliths in 2001, A Space Odyssey, or the silent crafts in Arrival. Because deep inside, we all want to believe that someone, somewhere, knows we exist. The fear beneath the wonder. But fascination is only half the story. There is fear too, the ancient, primal fear of being watched. In the quiet hours of night, the idea that something hovers above our planet, unseen, unblinking, touches a nerve buried deep within the species. If the Black Night truly exists, what does it want? Why does it remain silent? And what happens if it ever decides to speak? Maybe that fear is what keeps the legend alive. Because the unknown is never just about curiosity, it's also about vulnerability. To admit we are being watched is to admit we are not in control. And no civilization likes to feel small. In the Cold War, the Black Night was a spy. In the 1990s, it became a UFO. In the 2020s, it is a symbol, a metaphor for surveillance, truth, and the unseen forces shaping our world. Every age projects its anxieties onto it. For the digital generation, it represents the fear of hidden watchers in our technology, satellites, algorithms, governments. For dreamers, it is hope that we are not alone in the universe. That is the secret of the legend's endurance. It adapts. It lives in whatever shape our minds give it. Today, dozens of independent researchers track the sky for any sign of the phantom satellite. They use AI-driven telescopes, deep space sensors, and radar analysis. So far, no verifiable evidence has surfaced. Yet the myth grows stronger with every denial. In the vast catalog of space debris, there are occasional entries marked as unidentified object. Most vanish after a few weeks, reclassified, explained, forgotten. But a few linger in the records, orbiting in the same polar path, silent as ghosts. And every few years, someone rediscovers the same set of coordinates, and the Black Night is reborn again. Some say the Black Night communicates through numbers, the periodic bursts of low-frequency data that still baffle scientists. Others believe it doesn't speak at all, but listens, recording our transmissions, our broadcasts, our every whisper into the void. If so, then the Black Night already knows us better than we know ourselves. It has watched our wars, our peace, our digital awakening. It has seen us reach toward the stars, only to retreat into fear. And perhaps it waits, patient, calculating, for the day we are ready to understand what it represents. Maybe the truth is not physical. Maybe the Black Night doesn't need to be real to matter. It symbolizes the part of humanity that refuses to stop questioning. It's the embodiment of our eternal dialogue with the cosmos. When Tesla first heard those mysterious signals in 1899, he didn't run from them. He leaned closer. That single act, the willingness to listen to the unknown, is the spirit of human progress. In that sense, the Black Night is us, the listener, the seeker, the watcher, a reflection of our boundless curiosity. Astronomers have a saying: the universe is under no obligation to make sense to us. Perhaps that is the Black Night's message. Perhaps its silence is the answer. A reminder that not all mysteries are meant to be solved, only respected. The universe may not speak in words or signals, but through wonder itself. Every time we look up and ask, what if? The Black Night fulfills its purpose, not as an object, but as a question. From Tesla's lab in Colorado Springs to the ISS in orbit, from newspapers of the 1950s to Reddit threads of the 2020s, the Black Night has traveled across more than just space. It has crossed time, myth, and consciousness. It belongs as much to folklore as to physics, as much to the imagination as to the sky. And in that strange overlap between truth and legend, it has achieved immortality. It doesn't need to be proven. It only needs to be believed in. Because belief, after all, is what keeps every myth alive.